But the whole politics thing is just this time of the year and this part of the election cycle is just, I don't want to say the worst time of the year or whatever, but I just don't enjoy it. Conversation for me is about education, enjoyment, discovery, curiosity, fun, that kind of stuff, and possibly even talking solutions to things. I'm not someone who wants to engage in a conversation of problems. It's like, okay, that does nothing except bring me down. And so it's all about the impact it has on me. And the state of the world in general, particularly as it's presented by modern day media, news is not news, because to me, news is information. And this is all opinion and judgment and labels and basically trying to make money by clickbaiting. So the whole political thing for me is like, no, thank you. And so I got to think about that in terms of mindfulness, because I'm sure I'm not the only one. And it may be some other topic. It doesn't have to be politics, but anything. People will get excited because they're into it and they want to talk about it, and they start talking about it, and you're not interested and you just want it to go away and stop, but you don't want to be rude. You don't want to say, shut up, all that stuff. So what do we do? So I did some thinking about that. And, people talk about brutal honesty, and honesty does not have to be brutal. It can always be kind and thoughtful and respectful.
Yeah, well said.
But still honest. So how do I say, I'm really not interested in this and I don't want to talk about it, even though you're talking about it very enthusiastically? And it's like, well, what would I say if I had the time to think about it, which I did, to deal with that? I'd say something I would say something akin to, either I know because I know this about you, or I can see that you're very excited about this and really want to talk about it, but it's really not my thing. I just really don't have any interest in politics or the conflict or the negativity that's going around in the world. And I would prefer to talk about.
Do you want to role play it? Should we role play it right now?
Sure, why not?
Takes bite of fluffernutter sandwich. No. James, what do you think then about this Shager popularity then?
Shut up, Carl! I don't want to talk about it!
It looks so well. I'm not offended at all. That was beautiful. That was so beautiful. I really got a sense of how you felt. I'm thinking, okay, I should leave it. That's amazing.
I need to get out of here before I get hurt. Okay, that's so much for the humor. Let's go ahead and do the role play. I promise I won't. I just had to do that.
No, that was very good. Shager, third place as a political force in Portugal. I find it absolutely fascinating. What do you think, James?
Well, to be perfectly honest,
right,
I really don't have much interest in it. My experience of politics is very little of it actually accomplishes anything, and it just tends to bring me down because I want to engage in things I can do something about, or something that really engages me, and politics is not the thing. So I'd prefer to talk about something else if you'd rather. I'm perfectly open to talking about psychology or history or culture or language or art or music or, many, many, many things. So this is just the one space I would prefer not to talk about.
And do you know what? I think I could handle that. Yeah. I've got a good friend in Porto, and he described this very situation. He was talking with a fellow American who was banging on a bit about, difficulties and challenges and negativity and so on as he saw it, and said, you know what? I'm not enjoying this conversation anymore, which I think is possibly a little bit borderline, The key thing here is owning it, isn't it? It's like, and I think saying I'm not enjoying this conversation is owning it. And of course, the other person might take that as an insult, but he did say, I'm not enjoying this conversation. I haven't come here to have these sorts of conversations. So, you know, if it's all the same to you, can we talk about something else? Or I'm very happy to go and talk to somebody else. And I thought that was very daring. And I just think in balance, it's absolutely spot on. You know, life is short, isn't it? And I think that level of, what's Vitor doing? That level of authenticity is good right now. And I think it's fine to ask, all right, Vitor, you'll be on in a minute. It's fine to ask if people want to, you know, talk about politics or not. And you know what? This is an interesting situation that I want to talk about this morning that connects completely with this. There are entire Facebook groups now, and it came as a shock to me last week to discover that there was a really, what I would call a deeply negative Facebook group about Portugal. And it's framed as, you know, the problems that you can have and a place where you can vent about them. And the rules are you don't put people right. You don't tell people if they don't like it, they can leave. You don't deny people's experience. And it was very much like a therapy group. The ground rules were quite sort of therapeutic, like as if you were in a sort of a group therapy situation. But of course you're not. You're in a social media situation. I joined. And I started getting a bit bristly about what I was seeing, thinking, you know, how can one man abseil into this group and change it? And I thought, do you know what? After one,
leave the keyboard now.
I felt a bit attacked because part of it was like, there are so many groups now and, you know, influencers on YouTube saying how brilliant Portugal is. It's not true. It's not all like that. And I was thinking, oh, they might. Right. Yes, I think I'm part of that phenomenon. And eventually I asked one question and I thought, I'm just going to leave. This isn't for me. You're not
even going to hurt anybody's feelings.
No, I'm not even going to stick around and hurt anyone's feelings. I'm just going to leave. Right. And I thought to myself, this isn't for me. And that's fine. And good luck to these people. This environment is not, you know, I was somersaulting inside with what I thought I should be doing about it and how I thought it was unfair or the X, Y, and Z, which is completely my stuff. And I saw that and I thought, okay, I don't have to stay here. This is obviously useful to the people here. And it's, you know, it's a very popular group, interestingly. And I thought, sure, I just don't have to be a part of it. And I just left before I got thrown out.
Yes. And I want to conclude because, as I said, I'm solution oriented. Yeah, there's two ways, probably many ways you can approach it. One way is if you think, I'd like to know more, I'd like to see how open this conversation might be to differing points of view or whether it's just anchored in the one. And I don't know that yet. So okay, I could say something like, well, the first thing is see if there's anything the person said that you can agree with. And what you said in that example was, it's not all that way. Said, I agree with you totally. It's not all that way.
Yes.
So now you're not fighting them, you're agreeing with them. And say, and then my point of view is much more, it's less polarized. So it's like, yeah, I believe there's many, many great things about Portugal that I love. And there are things that frustrate me and annoy me as well. So, you know, I see that it's kind of both. And that's a difficult thing for that person who wants to rail against everything is negative to find any ground to really stand on, because they know it's not all bad either. It's not all good. If it's not all good, it's not all bad. So maybe we can find a common ground and carry the conversation on. Or if they come back at me, no, you're wrong, it all sucks. It's like, okay, see ya. You know, it's like I don't need to engage. And the best model, or not the best, but a simple model to remember of how to approach this is an I feel statement followed by the action. So I start to feel depressed when you talk about politics. All right, I haven't made the talking bad. Now you may feel bad for making me feel depressed or being a part of that, but that's not your responsibility. So I feel when is a great way of being able to neutralize potential aggressive interaction, because you're talking about yourself. They really can't argue that. If you say, I don't believe that, they can go, well, you're stupid. It's like, okay, well, that's your opinion. You know, but I don't believe it. I feel now I'm trying to remember the word for unsure about what you're saying, but feeling typically is an emotion. I feel sad, I feel happy, I feel excited, I feel curious. like that. So for people who struggle, like, how do I do this without, I don't want to trample all over people, just say, okay, well, I'm noticing, I do that too a lot. I'm noticing that I'm feeling a little frustrated.
Yes.
Because I want to resolve these issues and I don't see a resolution.
Yes. Yes.
Well, something along that line. And then you're just creating an opportunity to open the conversation. The other person may not go with
finish
you.
it, or finish it,
Or
and say,
finish
look,
it, yes.
I haven't come out for this sort of evening, but like, I wish you luck, and maybe we can talk about this another time. But tonight, I've got my dancing trousers on, and tonight is a different kind of night. And the other thing you can do is carry around a little portable PA and play jingles at people. So they say something, and you go,
It's another one.
Politics.
There you go.
Oh, I'm loving this. Wouldn't that be a great world? Let's give him a nice big round of applause. We need a
Don't
different
forget the
jingle.
crickets.